Good morning. What a beautiful day it is today. Last few days of January 2025, and I'm out exploring again, and I have come to Bedfordshire, to a small village called Yielden, or Yielden, or as it was in the 1086 when the great big census of the Doomsday Book was written, Yielden. So it's an interesting name. The Dean part, or den, is an old Anglo-Saxon word, or Old English, High Germanic I suppose, meaning valley, or actually den. Some people say that it actually might mean den or hiding place, but valley is the sort of accepted term. And the Yivel bit is an interesting one for me, because down here, just running through here, is the River Till. Now it's no more than a stream at this point, and but it is the River Till, and I kind of think that maybe back in the day when the Normans turned up, 1066 and all that, that they asked the local people what did they call the water, and they were maybe called it Yiel or Yiel, something like that, and so it then became the Yiveldene, which slowly and surely over time, until it was completely codified in modern day dictionaries, to become Yielden. That's just an opinion. I don't know whether that's true. Now, in the background, you can probably see some lumps and bumps, and this is what remains of Yielden Castle, or Yielden Castle. So originally, again going back to the great big census of the Doomsday Book in 1086, it was owned by Geoffrey de Trailly. Now, a lot of these French nobles came over with William the Conqueror, but apparently Geoffrey de Trailly didn't come over with William the Conqueror. He came over in a second wave and was gifted or given this land here. And so what he did was he built this mound on it, this Motte and Bailey Castle, which was the style at the time. Oh, a bit boggy down here. I'm glad I got my wellies on. And there's lots of sheep in the field, so I'm trying to not worry them too much. So at the time, this land would have been Anglo-Saxon, maybe a little bit of Danish as well, because we're just at the very edge of the Danelaw down here. So some Viking influence, but mainly Anglo-Saxon. And at the conquest of 1066, when Norman the Conqueror came over, all these French lords came over. So there were big language barriers between the people that lived out here in the countryside and the people that now owned the land. And not only were there language barriers, there were cultural barriers, all kinds of barriers in the way. So what they did was they came and they built great big things like this, probably with the help of a bit of forced labour from the locals, and they built these Motte and Bailey castles. Now, very interestingly, because we've had a lot of rain and it is winter, the moat down here has actually got water in it. It's actually flowing as well, and I think it's because it is actually part of the wider River Till. And so the Lord, I think he was a baron actually, Baron de Trailly, Geoffrey de Trailly, had this built, caused this to be built. I don't know whether he built it himself. I very much doubt it. Don't really see the nobility getting their hands wet, do you? But he had it built. And on top of it, he put a bailey and a keep. Now, there was some digging done in 1881, and there's not been any more digging done since then, but in 1881 it was found that there was actually a stone keep up there, which is very interesting. Not all of them were stone. At first they would build in wood, and they'd put a wooden palisade, and I hate the word palisade because it just means fence. I don't know why they don't just use fence. Whenever you're reading these things online, it always says palisade. It's a fence. And they'd build a wall around it, and they're stamping their authority. Not only are they stamping their authority, but they're stamping their way of thinking as well, because the Normans came over and they brought with them one true God. They brought Christianity. Now, Christianity already existed here, but it was still, bits of it was still the sort of old pagan ways of thinking. And I don't think even now that has completely gone away. We still do things like Easter and things like that. Obviously, they've been co-opted now by Christianity. Anyway, I'm going on there. And so, not only did the Normans build mounds like this, I'm not going to go up there. I've got some aerial photos, which will do the job. I'm not going to go up there because the footpath comes through here and there are sheep in the field and they're already looking a little bit worried. But they built this, and you can see it's quite a monumental thing. And it is actually a scheduled monument, which means they can't do anything with it without, you know, the say-so from Heritage England. Come on then, you're going to go through? Go on then, you're going to go and join your mates? Go on then, you go first, I'll go backwards then. Well, don't keep stopping. Go on. Sheep. Anyway, so you can see how much work has actually gone into this. Big old mound, great big mound of soil there, and obviously the dig out for the moat, it's probably gone up into there. Where's my camera? There it is. And then obviously there's some spoil on the sides here. Now, an interesting thing is that the Disraeli family, come on camera, I'm going to have to stop you a second because it's not keeping up with me. There we go. Okay, the Disraeli family were only here for a short time, really. They, a couple of 100 years, which is a long time. You know, it's quite a long time to have a family seat. But over time, it's believed that this castle actually became more manorial. So it became more like a manor rather than a defensive or offensive structure. And when we look at the overhead photography, the drone shots that I've just taken, you can actually see over here, I can't turn around because the sun's so bright, but over here in this part of the field, there's evidence of a field structure that you wouldn't have had if it was a castle. You'd have just been thieving off the locals and going and taking what you needed, you know, fiefdom and all that kind of thing. And down here as well, I believe, on the other side, there were fish ponds. Now you've got to remember that, you know, nowadays, with, you know, Tesco's and Sainsbury's and Aldi's and all those kind of things, we get our food, you know, it's just there. But back in the day, obviously, to have a steady supply of food, you'd need some way of keeping it. And a dovecote was actually found here, or the remains of a dovecote. There is, on the corner of that property over there, something that looks like a dovecote, but I think it's probably a sort of harking back to the dovecote that was found here. So they'd have eaten young doves, squabs is what they were called, which they'd rear. They'd also have the fish ponds over here, and then off here in the distance they'd have had fields growing all kinds of vegetables, most of which we'd recognise now, I would imagine. And yeah, so it's really just a very quick video to sort of talk about what was a pivotal part of English history, British history, and by extension really sort of world history, because obviously after the Normans conquered England, the English then went on, and the British then went on to conquer, you know, the biggest empire the world's ever seen. And it kind of started with the French invading England. So I mean, obviously prior to that the Romans had come over, and there have been Roman finds found around here, and the Bronze Age and Iron Age stuff as well, I believe. But yeah, this is Yielden Castle. I've got some drone shots, and I'll put some text over it if you want to read it. It's just a very quick video. I'm out exploring a few places today, and this is the first one, Yielden Castle, or Yielden Castle. I'm going to keep the camera rolling just in case I remember something, because I do a lot of research, A lot of the stuff comes from websites like Historic England, which actually have a record of the actual listing, the historic listing. But it is quite an amazing place when you look at, you know, it stands out in the landscape, doesn't it? Just up here as well is the church. So originally, probably Anglo-Saxon, it was actually connected to the Abbey at Thorney in Cambridgeshire, and then it was ceded to the de Trailly family, and there would have been a Norman church up there, but then that fell into disrepair, I believe, and then it was rebuilt around the 13th century. This was gone by 1360, so the family were only here for a very short time, really. I mean, it is a little bit out in the sticks, but most things were back then, I suppose. You know, most things were. Oh, the sheep are coming over to say hello to me. So yes, this is Yielden Castle. Footpath through it, you can come and see it. It's a bit soggy today, but you can come and have a look at it. I wonder whether this might be one of the fish ponds. I don't know what fish they'd keep. Maybe carp, I don't know. I'm not into fish. But yes, look at this ancient tree here. Look at the size of the base of that. That could tell a tale or two, couldn't it? Wow, oops. And then, yeah, so just here, apparently the River Till, which this is, has been rerouted through the village or something. So, yeah, this is the River Till. It's actually quite a big river at the moment. It's actually more than just a little stream. In the middle of summer, there's hardly anything down here. Oh, that one's got horns. He's keeping guard for his women, isn't he? Yeah, I'm keeping my eyes on him, actually. You see this one just here? Let me turn the camera around. There he is, that one. Look at the size of the horns. I don't want to get butted by him. So yeah, that is Yielden Castle. There is an information board just here, but it's frozen over, so I can't actually read anything of it. But that's fine, because I did do a little bit of research before I came here. The remains of a concrete building here. I don't really know what. Anyway, if you like the video and you want to find out more stuff like this, then please do like, please subscribe, comment down below if you know anything else, you disagree with anything that I've said, and I'll see you on the next one. Thank you very much. Goodbye.